You got a hammock? Is your ridgeline too tight? Is your ridgeline just right? Is your ridgeline a little loose? Well, let me tell you what, silly goose, I can help you with that. Now, there's a theory that the ridgeline should just bend about that much. Now, I don't know who made that up. Mine's a little loose right now. We're going to cover how to tighten that up when you're sitting in it so it's not in your face. And we're also just going to cover, and I keep saying we, but it's just me here, all by myself, going to cover how to loosen up this ridgeline when it's super tight when you hang your hammock. It's real easy to do. All right, and we'll look at that because that has been the question that has come up several times during the last couple of months. People have reached out to me, and I've been pondering it because I have done videos on ridgelines before. And if you want to check those out, just click that eye right up in the corner of the box here, or look down below in that box below this video and click those links. But a couple of the things I'm going to show you today, how to tighten up this loose ridgeline when you're sitting, and because that's annoying. That just gets on my nerves. And also how to loosen it up when you've hung your hammock and you lay back in there and that thing just feels tight as a drum. Now my hammock is hooked up right here on my fence, and we're just going to pretend that is a tree, and that is roughly your 30-degree angle, which is, if I were to lay my hand, put my finger like that, you can see that my finger and thumb, that line runs just right across the top of them. So you just put your hand out like that, and that is about a 30-degree angle, maybe 32, maybe 28. This is my head end suspension, which is, you know, as I'm standing here on the ground, it is about equal with higher my eyebrows. And on my fence over here, a little bit lower, I'd say, you know, right around where my nose is. And the hammock I'm in right now is my War Bonnet Eldorado. Basically the XLC with no shelf built into it. The ridgeline on this comes installed. It's a prefix length, and that's because of the bug net. You can't lengthen it because then you're going to end up straining your bug net and tearing it. You can shorten it a little bit. All right, and we'll cover that in a second. But as I lay back right now, this is pretty tight. I can bend it a little bit. There's times I've laid in my hammock and man, I cannot even bend that thing. It is just so tight. This Amsteel's not going to break. You're probably going to be fine doing this, but I know a lot of new hammockers like to go by the rules, and they like to know how to loosen that up. But what I'm going to do to loosen this up is, come on over here with me. Now it's real easy. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to raise my suspension up the tree. This is my head end, and I'm going to put it up a good little bit here. That puts our hammock a little bit high. So I'm also going to come down here to my simulated fence tree, and I'm going to go up to my next hook. So I'm hooking that up as high as I can on that fence. So what's happened there is I have raised it up, and now my hammock is a lot higher than I like it. I like to have my hammock so I can sit in it and have my feet just comfortably on the ground. That works for me. I'm gonna go down to the head end and let out my whoopee sling. Now, if you had a cinch buckle or a daisy chain webbing or whatever kind of suspension you have, just let it out. So I'm taking my whoopee sling and I'm gonna let it out. So now I'm getting lower to the ground. I'm gonna do that same thing on my foot end. Just a little bit here. It's important with the War Bonnet, I want my hammock so it's hanging where my foot end is high. That's the recommended thing for a War Bonnet. I do it with all my hammocks because it slides me into the spot I like. Now I'm probably a little low here, so I'm going to bring that up a little bit. Now I'm going to put myself in said hammock. Now when I lay back, I can give that thing the proper bend. And to fix that, just by sliding my suspension, up the trees more and then releasing my suspension, loosening it to get my hammock back lower to the ground. Now, one thing when I'm camping solo, I tend to spend more time in the hammock because I'm hanging out in it a good bit, you know. So, and I particularly like my war bonnet hammocks because that bug net supports my back. So I can just sit up at camp and watch the world go by, look at the water, and stare at the trees. But you can see right now that my ridgeline is at a good place where I'm laying back, but it's a little bit loose when I'm sitting around. Now, a lot of ridgelines these days are made out of whoopee slings and you can adjust them, but you want it back to your little place where the ridgeline gives you your sweet spot. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, once again, refer to those videos up there and you'll find out what the heck I'm talking about. But for the average camper, if you're going to sit around for the day and you want this thing tightened up, here's a really good fix for it. Is get yourself a little mini carabiner. You can see how small that is in my hand. These are like the ones I used to, you know, hold my underquilts on. In fact, this one is from Jack's or Better. So you're going to take the mini carabiner and just put it on your ridgeline like that. Okay, so I've hooked it on, and now I'm just going to take it and wrap it over so it's just wrapped through like that. Now to shorten it, and I know for this one, I'm going to give it 1, 2, 3, 4 wraps right there. Okay, this is a temporary fix. I'm going to let that out before I crash out at night and crawl back in when I'm laying flat out. That ridgeline is above my head. It's not dangling in front of my face anymore. And for that, I am thankful. That's just because of those 4 wraps I put in right down there on that little mini carabiner. Now you're probably wondering, Shug, what happens if you do lay back? Now if I forget to take them out when I crash at night, yeah, it tightens up the ridgeline a little bit, and it will put a strain on that little mini carabiner. So you got to make a note to yourself before you go and get comfortable in your hammock for some snooze time to simply take those 4 wraps out, or you know, leave one on, and that'll lift your ridgeline up and get it out of your face. Yeah, we are having our false spring here in Minnesota. It got up to 60 degrees at one point today. It's back down to about 52 now, but our snow is melting, but we ain't done. It's going to get cold again, and we will have snow again. So I'm just leaving everything a mess, but the ice skating's over, the rink is ruined. Meg's having eye surgery this week, and her mom fell and is in the hospital, and she's 94, so we're having some issues with the family. I was hoping to get out and camp, but family comes first, so I got to stick around, and I've got to be Meg's valet, driver, butler, footman, night nurse, dresser. Now she'll be fine. She's having cataract surgery and getting some lenses put in. Pretty cool. So, you know, I want to go camping, but it's just an icy, cruddy, muddy time to go camping, and well, we'll see. I might wait till it's actually spring. I miss true winter. I miss the sub-zeros. This is my least favorite time of year, when it's just melty and it's warming up, but you still got ice and corn snow, and it's just ugh. I don't know, son. Could have used a lot less words on that. Been more taciturn, succinct, maybe a little bit reserved, tight-lipped, reticent. But you went on and on and on. Yeah, way too much palaver. Garrulous is what you were, chatty. Keep it short and sweet, pithy. That's what I'm saying for next time. I just spit on your tripod. All secure in Sector 7. Woo, buddy! Right in the kisser! Whoa, still got it. It's all secure in Sector 7.